Writing, for me, came in my adult years. The idea of writing science essays is really an attempt to make difficult concepts understandable and to try to find common ground among the conflicting theories. Achieving those goals is another story. My fascination with poetry and my attempts to write it are different. Poetry is a method of expressing emotions, thoughts, and poignance through words. I was inspired by Dante Alighieri, the author of the Divine Comedy and La Vita Nova, both written in poetic verse. Dante's motivation for writing was inspired by Beatrice Portinari, a young girl who was the love of his life. Beatrice lived an uneventful life and died in 1290 at the age of 24. However, her influence upon the world of great literature is unparalleled because Beatrice was the driving force that inspired Dante Alighieri to become one of the greatest writers in history. La Vita Nova was written for Beatrice. Beatrice is a major character representing divine love in the Divine Comedy. All Dante's works were written after her death. Both Dante and Beatrice were born in Florence, and Dante first saw Beatrice when they were very young. They never touched or even spoke to each other, but his love for her endured to the day of his own death 31 years later. Every word he wrote was devoted to Beatrice, but ironically, Beatrice never knew. I tried to capture Dante's love for Beatrice through 4 poems. I wrote these poems to express Dante's longing for Beatrice. The first poem is a sonnet, and ironically is composed in a Shakespearean pattern of sonnets, something that came 300 years after Dante. A Shakespearean sonnet is written in 4 stanzas, 3 quatrains, and an ending couplet for a total of 14 lines. Each line is 10 syllables. The rhyme scheme of a Shakespearean sonnet is ABA, BCD, CDE, FEF, GG. Each letter represents words that rhyme. In this case, there are 7 rhyming pairs to make 14 lines. A sonnet for unrequited love. Too early in life, what reason loves haste? A gentle young smile and tilt of her face. If nectar compared, no sweeter the taste. A remembrance in time, so out of place. A casual turn and whirl of her dress, the curious thrill to flutter the chest. A glance of her eyes inflaming the stress, her leaving brought low my burgeoning crest. If granted one wish, one touch of her hand, as thoughts come alive, I spin a new plan, forever until the glass has no sand, yet off nights alone, so empty a man. Buried in darkness are things I regret. Long ago, angel, I'll never forget. The second poem is called My Beloved. It's also composed of 14 lines, and each line is 10 syllables. I modified the rhyme scheme of this sonnet so that lines 1, 2, and 4 of each quatrain rhyme within the quatrain. The third line of the 3 stanzas rhyme throughout the poem. The ending couplet rhymes with the first 2 lines of the poem. The pattern for this sonnet, My Beloved, is AA, BA, CCB, CDD, BD, AA. My Beloved. My love for her rose with the morning star, a love-bringing light my doubts could not mar, a love with the frills of ribbon and lace, a love I now know did not travel far. My eyes held a sight, her confident stance, a vision predestined, or perhaps chance. We shared alike souls, I saw in her face. My world came alive from only her glance. And then upon faith thought she was the one, but soon knew my plans were not to be done. For she was a gift beyond human grace, still my love of her shines more than the sun. Far from the surface I carry a scar, as then my love set with the evening star. The third poem is written in terza rima, the rhyme pattern in which Dante wrote the Divine Comedy. Terza rima is written in 3-line tercets. The middle line of the above tercet rhymes with the first and third lines of the stanza immediately below it. Terza rima can be any length, but I wrote Persistent Memories in 14 lines and concluded it with a couplet. Terza rima doesn't have the smoothness of the Shakespearean sonnet and sounds choppy. Still, poetry is in the ear of the beholder. The terza rima rhyme scheme for Persistent Memories is ABA, BCB, CDC, DED, EE. Persistent Memories. I remember that you noticed me first. How deep was your gaze when I turned to see? And once our eyes met, I knew I was cursed. Bewitched by your glance, I'll never be free. But then you were gone before we had spoke. Still you are always the essence of me. And since that day, my love stayed behind cloak. I can't believe that you were once so near. You were a dream that was gone when I woke, and though I now long for your smile, my dear, I will wait forever just to see your face, to hopefully say, then maybe 1 year. Sometimes I go to that faraway place to recall a love, if only a trace. The fourth poem is another modified rhyme scheme. Like the others, I wrote it in 14 lines. However, it's not a sonnet. The lines are not 10 syllables each, and tercets are included in the stanzas. I alternated quatrains and tercets as if paragraphs. The rhyme scheme for I'll Think of You is simple but flowing. AA, BB, CCC, DD, EE, FFF. I'll think of you. I saw you from a glancing eye so many years ago. You walked along a darkling path, and there you seemed to glow. But that was back when we were young. I haven't seen you since. Yet someday I'll return to you, your ever faithful prince. Your smile had charmed my heart as an enchantress with her brew. For the moment that you looked my way, a wondrous cast you threw. And though we seem a world apart, I can't stop loving you. I thought of you for countless years, forever on my mind, and wondered if you felt the same and thought of me in kind. I should have been much bolder and just whisked you in my arms. How to know that 30 years has so increased your charms? I promise that I'll think of you as if your love I won. I'll think of you as hand in hand we're walking in the sun. And I'll think of you, I pray I will, till all my days are done. Well, that's my tribute to Dante and Beatrice. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.